The NBA season is wrapping up, and we've got a number of storylines that could affect the end of the season. LeBron James is apparently dealing with a hand injury. We're going to talk a little bit about the Portland Trailblazers could be getting reinforcements at the right time as they get ready to gear up for their playing battle. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, got to keep talking about it. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything NBA and basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today, y'all. The Portland Trailblazers are getting some reinforcements back at a key moment, right? The Portland Trailblazers are going to be in the play-in tournament one way or another. Now, they do have still a chance for them to get and lock in the 8 seed. Now, with the matchup against the Clippers tonight, which sit one game above them, and then another game on Sunday, if the Clippers win both those games, they lock in the 8 seed. That's it. They own the tiebreaker in that case. And Shaedon Sharpe, who's been out for an extended period of time, and Vit Krejci also could be making their returns back for the Portland Trailblazers here shortly. They've been upgraded to tonight's game for questionable, so that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make their return for sure. We'll see if they end up doing, but if they're able to get back on the basketball court, and yes, there's a time period where you got to get over the injury and acclimate yourself back, but at 22 years old, Shaedon Sharpe's averaging 21 points, 4.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists on 45% shooting from the field and 34% shooting from three. He's also averaging 3 turnovers per game, so take that for what you will, but this is one of the brightest spots on the roster, right? 9 points per game his first year, 16 points per game the next year after that, 18.5 last season, 21 points per game this season. Shaedon Sharpe is a legit weapon. And getting him back on the court, even if it means just getting him a couple games under his belt before going into that play-in tournament, can do nothing but help the Portland Trailblazers end up coming out of that. And that's really what you want. Like the Portland Trailblazers, despite everything going on with that team, and the Chauncey Billups thing and all that type of stuff, just the fact that this team is as young as what they are and have dealt with what they've dealt with, nobody would have knocked them if they would have packed it in and the season would have went left. For what it's worth, they're 40-40 on the season with a chance to finish above 500 on the year as well. And considering all things involved for that, that's huge for a Portland Trailblazers team. So they go into the matchup tonight against the Clippers, which sit one game above them. They can close that gap with the game today, and then they can seal it if they get a win on Sunday, the final day of the NBA regular season. Can they do it? We shall see. And like I said, even if they can't, they're still going to go in the play-in. The only benefit of getting to the 8 seed will be that they have 2 chances to win 1 game. And we'll see if they can get that done. Let's see if they can get that. Otherwise, they'll have to win 2 games just to get in if they don't. So we'll see what happens with the Portland Trailblazers in that case. But, hey, we'll see. But they're not the only team dealing with some injuries. LeBron James apparently is dealing with a right hand injury that, he says this. It'll be fine. I mean, it's not fine, but I'm good. Now, here's the thing. Apparently, LeBron James has been dealing with this injury for a while now, and he feels it when he hits his hands in certain ways. When you look at how physical LeBron is still at this age, it's there, right? And so he did appear to re-injure the injury as well on a chase down block midway through the third quarter in the last game as well against the Golden State Warriors. So there's that part of it. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with LeBron and the Lakers, but I think the complementary role that LeBron has really embraced here over the last few weeks of the season, if he continues to do that in the playoffs, like it could do nothing but help the Los Angeles Lakers. Like I think that's still the best role for the Lakers with LeBron at this point. They're clearly built more around Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic and what they got going on there. So, it can affect it, but LeBron is still an important piece of that roster. And so we'll see what ends up happening there. If LeBron is somehow hobbled or not 100% or has to think too much in that hand, or now that it's been made known players try to attack that hand, when they're guarding him or something like that, we've seen it before. Players take little swipes when players have hand injuries, stuff like that. If that ends up happening, what does that mean, right? So that's what you're looking at in a case like this. And not to say that it can make or break the playoffs, because I think it comes down to more than that. I still, don't look at the Lakers as a true contender to come out of the West or anything like that. But we'll see what happens in regards to that overall. But we still are more so focused on where LeBron's going at the end of the year. Steph Curry's recently come out and reportedly is interested in playing and matching with LeBron James. We also LeBron recently said that he may not play Steph again, whatever that means, right? So we'll see what ends up happening, with LeBron. But, those are two injuries to the Lakers and, returns to the Portland Trailblazers that absolutely could have an impact on where this postseason goes. So let me know what you guys think on that down below. But with that said, the thing I want to focus on the most in this episode is Giannis, right? There was an article written on 4 of the best trade offers that could be made for Giannis, after the season's over with. And I do want to talk about those, right? So the teams that we have that could be trading for him are the Heat, the Warriors, the Rockets, as well, and the Timberwolves, right? These are all teams that we've heard to varying degrees over the season. Also had an interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo, so it makes some sense. So the first offer here is the Warriors offered Jimmy Butler, Pods, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2029 first-round pick, a 2031 first-round pick, and a 2030, and 32 first-round pick swaps. That is probably one of the best trade pick packages that you're going to get back. Now, for what it's worth, it's on the Golden State Warriors. Now, the thing that I have to look at that is that the 29 and the 31 first-round picks, if those are after Steph is gone and Giannis is just left with a Warriors team by himself, then those could be really good picks. Now, the one in 2027 may not be the greatest pick because that would be the next season's pick. And if Steph and Dre and Giannis stay healthy and the Warriors can fill out that bench a little bit better than what they were last year, then, that's probably not going to be a great pick. But the future part of that pick, if Steph does not extend and goes beyond next season and does end up retiring or leave or Dre or whatever, then those actually could be some pretty damn good picks for them. And I think with the Milwaukee Bucks already prioritizing their first-round pick in this draft, it would make some sense to be able to stack those picks. Jimmy Butler is kind of the throw-in in that case. Pods as well. They can look to flip Pods later on. I don't think any team's going to take Jimmy at this point after an ACL injury at all, so you'd be stuck left paying him. But that's why you're getting the number of picks that you're getting back in that case. I don't think this is a terrible one. We know that the Warriors want to gear up. They've already reportedly had some interest in Giannis. They want to keep trying to win as long as Steph's going to be there. So this would be a move to really put that all in. When they made the trade for Jimmy Butler, that was their all-in trade. It didn't really work out. Trading now for Giannis is really more of an all-in trade, and especially after Jimmy Butler's ACL tear, you don't know exactly how he's going to return and look like, especially with the age that he's already at. So there you go there. The next one, the Miami Heat, right? Now, the Miami Heat in this one are offering Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Nikola Jovic, a 2028 first-round pick, a 2030 first-round pick as well, and a 2032 first-round pick. They're also offering pick swaps in 2029 and 2031. Now, this is also playing off the fact that how good are the Miami Heat going to be? You're adding Giannis Antetokounmpo to Bam, which is really good. You still got some other players down there that always make sense. We know that Pat Riley is always looking into adding for a star. And the thing that about the Miami Heat is that if they were able to add Giannis to Bam, I have no doubt that Pat Riley is going to make every move possible to solidify that and continue building around those players, right? And then if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you have your pick this year, which is probably going to be in the top 10. You have Ryan Rollins, a young player as well. You have Khalil Ware to add to that also. And then you're starting to build a young core that you can develop and that you hope are going to grow together. And then Tyler Hero could be another trade asset that you look to flip again down the road. And for that part, so then you get even more maybe first in regards to that. So I don't hate this trade for the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know if that the Miami Heat are going to offer this much. And, we'll see. The rumor is that the Miami Heat may not get as much of an offer now that teams know that it's a toxic situation with Giannis Antetokounmpo, but we'll see what happens there. Next up, the Rockets. Now, this is the team that I don't know if they really want to do it. Giannis and KD, but they have the Bucks getting Alfred Sengun, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2027 first-round pick that's actually coming from Phoenix, Houston's own 2028 first-round pick, and a 2030 first-round pick. So you're getting 3 first-round picks back, one of those being Phoenix's. And the Rockets get back Giannis Antetokounmpo. For that, you're giving up Alfred Sengun. You're keeping him in Thompson, which reportedly the Rockets really do want to do. They want to keep him in. So then you're having Fred VanVleet. And you still got Jabari Smith. You still got Amin Thompson as part of some young core, but now you're giving up another member of that young core after you kept most of them in your trade for Kevin Durant. So, I would say this. If the Rockets fizzle out, in let's say they are a first-round exit for some reason, I can completely see, as Ime Udoka does want more stars there, it seemed like the front office and the GM was more inclined with kind of building more organically, whereas Ime Udoka, he wants a roster that can win right now. He wants stars right now. So if the Rockets do fall short in the playoffs, maybe they do pivot towards that. Now, Sengun was an all-star this year. I do think with Antetokounmpo being in the final year of his deal, you've already extended Kevin Durant, so you have that part of it. We'll see what happens there, but I think Dorian Finney-Smith is probably washed at this point, so that's neither here nor there. But it really comes down to the Rockets want to give up a young all-star to get another aging player. We'll see what happens there. And then lastly, the Minnesota Timberwolves, another team that we've heard are interested. They have in this one, and this comes from Bleacher Report, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, a 2032 first-round pick, a 2028, 2031 first-round pick swaps as well for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this isn't as asset-rich as the other deals, right? Now you're getting Jaden McDaniels, who is a young player, two-way player. You're getting Julius Randle, another player that you can flip later. You can even flip Dante DiVincenzo as well to a contender later. So the value in this one will come from you having flippable assets, because Julius Randle is, based off the way he played in the playoffs last year, which was some of his best basketball, there are going to be teams that are interested in Julius Randle. So you could probably flip that and get another first-round pick, right? You look at Dante DiVincenzo. I don't know if you get another first-round pick back for Dante, but he's, again, a player that I do think playoff teams would definitely be interested in bringing into their roster, which can make some sense. So the flippability of those assets makes some sense there, because they're not going to want to keep those guys long-term because they're completely resetting the deck for young players. So while it's very light on first, it does have players that can be reflipped, and you have Jaden McDaniels in that, a young player that I think still has a lot of promise, even though it seems like some of that luster is weared off a little bit for that one. So it seems like that's going to be the case. But let me know what you guys think of these four offers that could be there for Giannis Antetokounmpo in the offseason. Which one is best for the Milwaukee Bucks? Which one would you take if you were the Bucks? Let me know that down below. But that's going to do it for today's episode, man. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. And let me know down below, where do you guys think Giannis Antetokounmpo gets traded? Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode, especially as we're going into the offseason. There's going to be a lot of news that we're going to be breaking here. So make sure you guys follow us at NBA Central Pod. Send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making an episode. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.